Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen and my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, and in this week's video, we have a week's worth of dinners for less than $20. It is the end of the month. It is the Sunday before Memorial Day right now, and I close out our budget every month at the end of the month. We are actually over budget on groceries a little bit, so I'm trying to make this week as cheap as I possibly can just to save money and not have to go any further over budget. So I've gone through our refrigerator and our pantry and our freezer, and I've picked out meals based on what we've already got in stock, and I just had to get a few ingredients around that. So what we've got here is just the remainder of the ingredients that I had to get to fill out the things that we have in our fridge, freezer, and pantry already. So we are shelf cooking this week with just a few extra items. So the $20 is the money we spent at Aldi to get the remaining ingredients, what we didn't have on hand already. Let's take a look at all that stuff. So we spent $21.64 at Aldi, but a little over $2 was on this loaf of bread, and this is for my mom. Actually, this isn't for us, so I'm not counting this $2 in the haul, and if you take that out, it is less than $20. So we got some bacon. I am gonna make some cornbread with like bacon in the cast iron skillet first, and then you make the cornbread with the bacon grease. So I'm gonna make that with some pinto beans that we already have on hand for one dinner this week. And then for another dinner, I'm gonna make chef salads because we have some turkey on hand, lettuce, tomatoes, eggs, all that kind of thing that we need to use up. So I'm gonna use the other bacon for the chef salads. The ham I also got for the chef salads. We've got some turkey in the fridge, like I mentioned. We've also got some chicken in the freezer. So we'll use one of those for the chef salads along with this. Got some cream cheese and taco seasoning because we have ground beef, corn, beans, and tomatoes on hand. So I'm gonna make a taco soup with that. And we got some tortilla chips for that as well for the taco soup. We got some chili con queso to have with the extra chips when we have taco soup night. The blue cheese dressing to go with the chef salad. And then we got some ranch dressing mix because actually the taco soup recipe that I'm following asks for ranch dressing in the soup as well. So we got that for those. And then we got some rosemary and olive oil crackers. These are the Aldi brand Triscuit knockoffs to have because we've got some cheese in the fridge to eat for snacks as well. So the other meals that I'm going to be making this week, I already mentioned the chef salad and the pinto beans. I'm also going to be making chicken Alfredo and the taco soup. So I mentioned that one as well. I'm going to make those for most of the time. It's just me and my husband Corey eating dinner. So it's going to be the two of us and we'll have leftovers for the other nights. So if I make 4 meals, that'll be more than enough for all of our dinners for this week. Tonight for dinner, we are having chicken Alfredo. So when I asked Corey if there was anything specific he wanted for dinner this week, he said chicken Alfredo sounded good. And actually that worked out perfectly because I had 2 chicken breasts in the freezer from one of our grocery hauls last week. So I pulled those out and thawed those, and they are on the grill right now. I'm grilling those up. And then we had some spaghetti in the pantry that I need to get rid of. So spaghetti, and we also had some, let me flip you around and show you. We had heavy whipping cream, which I buy this for like a specific recipe and then I can never use all of it. So this is perfect because it's almost like you need a cup for the recipe and it's almost this whole container gone. So you need heavy cream and you need Parmesan cheese. The recipe says to use nice quality Parmesan cheese. Well, this is probably the lowest quality Parmesan cheese you can find anywhere, but it was in the fridge. We need to use it, so we're going with it. So you need 1.5 cups of the Parmesan cheese, and the recipe is actually an Olive Garden copycat Alfredo, so I'll link that below for you guys. But I'm gonna go get the chicken off the grill right now, throw the spaghetti in the pot, and then we'll start working on the sauce. also got these green beans in the fridge from last week that we need to use. They are on their last leg and we need a vegetable for tonight. So I'm gonna toss these with olive oil, salt and pepper, put them in this grill pan, and then grill these for about 10 or 15 minutes. For the sauce, so I've got my pan preheated over medium heat. And I've got 2 tablespoons of butter here. We're gonna melt that and saute 2 tablespoons of garlic with the butter for about a minute, it says, until it's fragrant. After the garlic sautés, we're going to add the cream and let that come to a boil, then let it thicken for 3 to 4 minutes, it says, before we stir in the Parmesan and make sure the Parmesan is melted. Add salt and pepper, and that is it for the sauce. Is the finished dinner. This was really good. The sauce didn't get all the way melted. I think it was because of the Parmesan I used, but it still tasted really great. I should have doubled the sauce, honestly, because of the amount of pasta I used, but I will definitely make this one again. It was super easy and really flavorful. We liked it a lot. Corey liked it a lot too. Tonight's dinner is taco soup. So I've got a pound of ground beef here. It's more like a pound and a half, but you know. Ground beef, this was in our freezer. So I got this out and thawed it on the counter this morning. So this is ready to go. I'm gonna brown this first. And then I'm gonna dump in a can of beans. The recipe called for black beans, but I had kidney beans in the pantry. That's all I could find. And that's the whole point of this week anyway, is to use up stuff we have here. So kidney beans going in, that'll be fine. And a can of corn. The recipe says to drain and rinse the beans, but it doesn't say anything about the corn, so I'm gonna put the whole thing in undrained. It calls for 2 cups of salsa. This is the rest of the salsa we had left in the fridge, and it's not quite 2 cups, I don't think. So I'm gonna add the rest of that. And then we had a can of these diced tomatoes with green chilies. It's basically Rotel, just the Aldi knockoff brand. So I'm gonna add that to make up for the extra salsa. But yeah, this is a great one to get rid of stuff that's just hanging around in your fridge and pantry, because literally we had all of this stuff on hand, and like we always somehow have like half a jar of salsa sitting in the fridge. So this is great for that. And then I'm gonna add in a packet of taco seasoning and a packet of ranch seasoning as well, and 2 cups of beef broth to the mixture. So brown the ground beef, add all of this after you brown the ground beef and drain it, and then let it simmer for 30 to 40 minutes and you're good to go.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can't find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way, was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way, I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way, my way, my way, found my way, my way. Cause I found my way, my way, my way, found my way, my way. I found my way, I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way, I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. Cause I found my way.
It is Sunday of the next week. So I made the chicken Alfredo that you guys saw in the taco soup. I was gonna make the pinto beans and the chef salad, but honestly, we had so many leftovers that we couldn't get through it. So it's Sunday, and I've changed up the plans a little bit. I'm still gonna make the cornbread, but I'm gonna make a green bean skillet to go with it instead because we had some ground beef in the freezer downstairs that we need to use. So I'm gonna make that, and I'm gonna make some shrimp because we also had shrimp in the freezer downstairs to use. First, we're gonna start with the cornbread. I got this recipe book that I'm getting the recipe from. It's a Southern Living cookbook. I got this from a thrift store in town a couple of weeks ago. They had cookbooks on sale, 3 for $1. I love cookbooks. I love to get cookbooks, especially at the thrift store. So this was like 33 cents for a Southern Living cookbook. I think that's great. But I saw this recipe for cornbread in it, which is what made me think about cornbread because I have this buttermilk that I need to use up and these Jiffy corn muffin mixes that were in the pantry that we need to use up as well. So I'm going to use this recipe as like a base, but it calls for like corn flour on its own instead of the muffin mix, and I don't have that, and I couldn't find it at Aldi, and I need to use these anyway. So I'm going to use this recipe as a base. I can't link it because it's just in this old cookbook, so take a screenshot of this if you want to try it yourself. But I'm going to cook 3 slices of the bacon first in the skillet like it says, and then I'm going to combine the corn muffin mix with the eggs and the milk, but this calls for I think 1/3 cup of milk, so I'm going to use 1/3 cup of buttermilk instead, and I'm going to double it because I'm using both of these mixes. So we're going to do that and cook it according to these directions. So I'm blending a little bit of this recipe and what the box calls for. We'll see how it turns out. First thing we need to do is cook 3 slices of bacon in a cast iron skillet. So I've got my cast iron skillet here. I've let this heat up so it should be hot. I always get scared with the cast iron skillet that I'm going to grab the handle because I'm just so used to grabbing the handle on all my other skillets. So in the bacon goes. And in the meantime, we are going to put together these muffins. 2 eggs. Two-thirds cup of buttermilk. Of these corn muffin mix boxes. today's installment of Learn from Hannah's Mistakes, I had this skillet up way too high when I put the bacon in. I had it on like medium high. I should have had it on medium. So the bacon burnt a little bit, but I think the bacon grease is fine, which is, I mean, the main objective anyway. So I've got all of this mixed up in here, the mix and the buttermilk and the eggs. And the recipe says to heat that skillet up in the oven for 3 minutes, but honestly, I think it's hot enough. So I'm gonna pour this into the grease and hope that it doesn't pop everywhere. Oh man, that looks good. Hopefully this turns out. Okay, let me scrape the rest of this out. Okay, it's in the pan. It started to cook the edges a little bit already, the bacon grease, so I'm putting it in the oven for 15 minutes. I'm also gonna go ahead and put this bacon on a sheet and cook this up. I always try to cook my bacon on a sheet pan, which is probably why that burned. It's just easier to cook it on a sheet pan in the oven. I've never twisted it like this before, but I've seen other people do it in their videos, and I was curious. I think they said that it makes it more like crispy if you cook it like this. So I'm gonna try it. I'll report back and let you guys know how it turns out. It just came out and it looks and smells so good. I hope it tastes as good. Next up, I'm gonna steam some shrimp. So we buy these bags of shrimp in the frozen food section. You can get them on sale pretty often at Food Lion if you have a Food Lion near you, so just watch out for that. But these were in the freezer downstairs from some time that we found them on sale. So I steam them with Old Bay, water, and apple cider vinegar, and they're really good, like a shrimp boil, if you like that kind of thing. So we're gonna boil the water, apple cider vinegar, and Old Bay seasoning on the stove, and then we're gonna add the shrimp in there and just cook them, steam them until they turn pink. That means they're cooked through. It normally takes like 3 or 4 minutes, not very long at all. Apple cider vinegar, this is 1 cup for 2 pounds, so half a cup if you're only doing a pound, and then 1 cup of water, and 4 tablespoons of Old Bay for 2 pounds of shrimp. Next up, I'm gonna make some cheesy cauliflower. So I told you guys the name of the game this week is to use what we've got in the fridge and get rid of all the stuff that I can. So this head of cauliflower has been in our fridge for, I'm really scared to think about how long, a long time. And it's on its last leg. It needs to be used before it goes bad. So I found a recipe for cheesy cauliflower. I'll link it below. But basically, I've cut this into small pieces. I am gonna rinse it, and then I'm gonna boil it for 4 to 5 minutes until it's tender. Take that off. Add 2 ounces of cream cheese, or 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream, and a tablespoon of butter to a saucepan. Heat that up until it's boiling, and then add some onion powder and mustard. The recipe calls for mustard powder, but I don't have that. So what I do have is the yellow mustard. We're gonna use that instead. And then take that off of the heat and add in 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And it calls for sharp cheddar cheese, but I've got in the fridge some Mexican style and some mozzarella left. So we're gonna use that. Take it off the heat, add the cheese in, and then stir it up in the sauce. And then we're gonna transfer everything to a baking dish, add a little bit more cheese over the top, and bake it until it's done for about 20 or 25 minutes. It calls for a cup of heavy cream. I had like a little bit left in that carton in the fridge, which is great. I got rid of it, but this is all that was in it. So I'm gonna supplement with buttermilk. Hopefully it's okay. Like I said, we're using what we've got. I think it would probably taste good in cheesy cauliflower anyway. So we're going with this. This was so cheesy and so good. The buttermilk gave it like almost like a sour cream taste also, and we loved it. Corey and I both loved it. I will make this again for sure. I want it now looking at this video. It's so good. Definitely make this one. This next recipe is a green bean and ground beef skillet, and it is one of my favorites. So I make this pretty often. You start on the stovetop with your ground beef, and you're going to want to cook it in a Dutch oven or some sort of pan that you can put into the oven after the stovetop. So you brown your ground beef, drain all the grease off, and then you're going to add your cream cheese and your milk to the skillet with the ground beef. You're also going to add your spices in at that point. So you're going to cook that down until the sauce starts to thicken, and then you're going to add on 2 cans of green beans on the top and a layer of cheese on top of that. Then you're going to throw everything into the oven and let that bake, and it is so good. It reminds me of like Hamburger Helper. It tastes like Hamburger Helper to me, except healthier because you're making it at home, and also it has green beans in it. So this one is really worth a try. I love it. Corey loves it. I make it really often just because it's so good. Here's what it looks like with the cheese before it goes into the oven, and then here is the finished product when it comes out of the oven. I'm not kidding you guys, this is so good. Homemade Hamburger Helper, try it out. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you some inspiration to be able to use some of the food in your pantry and fridge too, instead of buying more groceries. So if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I put out new videos every week. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.